It's okay to be scared, but don't scare yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. I
I do not have a big red stamp at my desk that says declined.
Yeah.
So it's more of a, hey, what are your goals? What are you comfortable with?
Yeah.
Here's where you're at now. And then even if you're not ready right now, here's what you got to do.
Hey guys, welcome to the Real Estate Huddle, and this is episode 61. We're going to be talking about first-time homebuyer tips in Colorado. So to summarize this, we're going to have some fun talking about this. Hopefully, you'll have some good tips, and it'll be entertaining for you. But our topics today are going to be down payment assistance in Colorado. Also, we're going to be talking about some first-time general homebuyer tips in Colorado so that you're well-informed on the process. And then also Denver first-time homebuyer programs. There's a few of them out there that can be really helpful. So we will jump right into it, and let's talk a little bit about just the importance of home ownership as a milestone. Do you guys think that that's a lost art, or do you think that people are still excited about owning a home today?
I think it's still a milestone, and I think people are still looking at it as like a goal. But I think there's a common attitude out there that says this is going to be really, really difficult. It's much harder to get into one, and people have more of a poor outlook on it because of affordability and rates and all that stuff. But I think it's still considered like a big goal, and probably even a bigger one in these past couple of years than it has been in the past while. So
Yeah.
I think that's just what I hear.
Could be.
Word around the street.
We may have some obstacles to go through, but it's still a dream. The American dream is still alive. And I apologize. I forgot. Everybody's probably wondering, who's the good-looking dude in the blazer over here, right? So Patrick Langens with Cross Country Mortgage has joined us today. He's our friend in the mortgage industry and does a great job helping a lot of our clients. And so we just want to welcome you, and thanks for joining us, because it's appropriate to have the money guy here with us.
Thanks for having me.
To talk through this. Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Because importance of a home ownership as a milestone, like what are you hearing with especially first-time home buyers?
Yeah, I think a lot of them are very scared right now. If you listen to the news, the media, rates are high, home prices are high. So kind of what you said, it seems more like a dream than what's even possible.
Yeah.
Most of the people buying right now are having some life event that is spurring them to buy. So growing family, getting married.
More of need than want.
More than need than want.
Yeah.
But in the end, home ownership is the best way to start building wealth. So if we can get some of those first timers, renters to see that, they can start building that wealth now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there's some unique aspects of owning a home in Colorado, especially, you want to be coached by someone that knows what they're doing, because we have expansive soils. We have some scary things that can set you back, right? So you want to make sure that you're buying a really good investment. And that's where we come in, right? As the real estate guides to help you through that process. And, I think you nailed it. The biggest challenge is affordability right now. And I think that's may continue into the next year, although we're seeing rates drop. This past week has been exciting that we're seeing rates in the mid sixes again that we haven't seen in over a few months. So that's looking better. So hopefully that continues in that direction to help people, because so much of that affordability lies on interest rates. But we're in a market that hasn't grown for 2.5 years, basically. And we're a growth market that usually grows 7% per year on average. Yeah. So there is opportunity there, because the clock stopped for 2.5 years, right? So you can jump in and take advantage of that. And normally, historically, when we've seen that happen, there's been a boost and kind of a jolt of activity and appreciation that happens after a little mini recession in our market. So we could have that to come. But tips, let's talk about just some things that buyers should know. First time home buyers, if they're getting started, what are some things that they can do to prepare so that they're ready?
Well, I think most, like I said earlier, are scared. So I think what they should know is it's not a scary process. And the best part about starting the process is everything is free in real estate until you actually are writing an offer on a home. So until you're under contract, the discovery process, learning what you qualify for, is this even a possibility? All of that's free. But a lot of people think, oh, if I start the pre-approval process, if I talk to a real estate agent about what type of home I'm looking for, then I'm committed. And you're not. It's really just figuring out what works for you. So my first tip would be at least talk to us so we can get you started and see what's possible.
It's okay to be scared, but don't scare yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. I
I do not have a big red stamp
Yeah.
at my desk that says declined.
Yeah.
So it's more of a, hey, what are your goals? What are you comfortable with?
Yeah.
Here's where you're at now. And then even if you're not ready right now, here's what you got to do to
Totally.
be ready in a year, 2 years. My longest client from start to when they bought a home, 3.5 years. So we never give up on people.
It's awesome. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, and I think people that tend to miss out on opportunities and not be as successful financially, they tend to get overwhelmed and then just give up, right? Where people that are successful, they take things step by step and they're methodical about it. And so we've talked in other episodes about budgeting, about being prepared from a financial aspect, and just doing those little fundamental things like each month to make sure that you're trying to put a little money away and save some aside. And we said we're going to talk about like the Denver first-time homebuyer programs in this episode. What are some first-time homebuyer programs that can actually alleviate that down payment void that some people have if they haven't saved up a lot of cash? What are some helpers there that you've seen, or the most common that are used?
Yeah, so the most common one is the acronym, we call it CHAFA, but it's Colorado Housing and Finance Authority. But if you qualify for that program, you can buy a home for $1,000.
I always wondered what the F meant. My
go.
mind wandered. Finance. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's
Yep.
good.
So that's probably the most popular one, and people are blown away when it's like, yeah, wait, I can buy a home for $1,000. So
Literally, you've seen it happen.
yeah, all the time.
Buyers bring $1,000.
Yep.
All the time.
Yep.
And they can buy a house.
Yep. Now, when
Are you listening?
when we were in a competitive market, so we'll go back to COVID, when rates were 2% and 3%, and there were lines out the door to buy a home, and 50 people were trying to buy the same one, that wasn't happening. There was
Right.
too much competition. And so sellers would take offers from people who were willing to pay up and above the value of the home.
Right.
And it was really hard to get first-time home buyers under contract. But right now,
Not that the money went away. It was still there.
Yeah.
But the competition made it so it was sellers were selecting other offers.
Yep. So right now is probably the best first-time home buyer market I have seen in the last 10 to 15 years.
I agree. Since
From a
2011,
negotiation.
12, right? Like
Yep.
we haven't seen a better one than right now.
Yeah, from a negotiation standpoint.
Agreed.
Right?
Yep.
Rates are a little bit higher, prices are a little bit higher. But as far as getting what you want from the seller, a lot of them will bend over backwards. They are so happy that you're looking at their home and considering making an offer.
So isn't this so jacked up? Like listeners are going to be thinking like you talked about an affordability crisis, and then you say this couldn't be more opportune, timing to get in the market. So it's just weird, that dichotomy, right?
Yep.
But like, it's true. Both sides are true.
Yeah.
So you're going to love everything about the process right now, except for the payment. That's really what it comes down
Well,
to.
even the payment, there's ways to get it to where you're comfortable. And then I tell my clients, you rather already own the home when rates drop, and they will drop.
Yeah.
We just don't know when. But you want to own the home when rates drop. It's way less fun to try and buy it when rates are low because of that competition.
Yes.
Feeding
Right.
frenzy.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Well, you think about that time frame, right? The pandemic, like everybody that bought during that time, well, 82%, we know from surveys now, they hated the experience. They a lot of them don't like their house that they bought because they were kind of forced into a hole, to buy that house. And then the other thing is they love their payment.
They do like that.
So
One of three.
now it's just the opposite, right?
Yeah.
You'll love the experience. You'll love your house because there's options.
Yeah.
But the payment may not be ideal. But guess what?
The payment can change.
Interest rates change, right?
Well, and the other thing is rent prices are going to go up. So having a mortgage is the only way to fix your output for your housing expense.
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
and then you can adjust that down if rates are going where they need to go.
yeah,
It's hard, and I, with that part of the pandemic, people where it's like, okay, we have a great rate. There's also a hard part to that where it's like, okay, if we want to refinance, like this is going to be a rough refi because now we're bumping up to almost 7% right now.
yeah.
And we have a seller right now who has a 2.5% rate on their house. and they're
It's hard to walk away.
yeah, it's super hard to do anything with that. So you're kind of stuck almost. But it's right now is it can alleviate that quite a bit if you just kind of suck it up for a little bit and then just wait to refinance.
Yeah, and I think during COVID, when rates were 2% and 3%, you could buy a similar home for a lower payment, or you could even buy an extra bedroom or 2 bedrooms more than what you are living in now.
Yeah.
Because the rates were so low.
Yeah.
You can't do that as easily right now. And so I still think it's important, if you're renting a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, you should at least own a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. You may not be able to buy a 3-bedroom yet, but if you're going to wait to buy that dream home, you might as well wait in a property you own. So that
That's
way you're
appreciating.
appreciating your payments. A little bit of that's coming back to you.
Totally.
So
Yeah. No, that's a good point. So where are the areas, like if you're a first-time home buyer looking, right? And we know that now after that conversation, down payment assistance in Colorado is alive and well, right? It's good. But if we're moving on to where can you buy a house? Because I think a lot of people listening are probably wondering, like, okay, this is great talk, guys. Good conversation. Where on earth am I going to buy a house that I can afford, right? So the more affordable areas, would you say, like, where can you buy a single-family house under $500,000 right now? I think that's kind of a breaking point for some people, just based on where payments end up.
I have one on the market in Denver right now. So
Yeah, right on Colorado Boulevard. yeah.
Colorado and 29.
It's there.
You're
You wanna
right
go to
next
the
to the
zoo?
zoo.
You can walk.
Museums. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, it's a great house.
You have a nice sound of like city traffic, which is kind of soothing to some people.
Some people love it.
It's really nice.
Yeah, but just music to your ears after a while. Live there for a month, you won't even know. But it's one of those things where that house has got updates. I mean, you can go in there.
It's a great house.
It'd be a great house. You could rent it out. There's a lot you could do with that for under $500K in Denver. Yeah, like just east of downtown. So you'd be surprised. Castle Rock, Parker still have options under 500 for single family homes. You may not get as much square feet or bedrooms as you would hope in a perfect world,
No
but they're out
HOAs
there.
in most of those areas.
Lakewood's got some. Morrison's got some.
Yeah, even Morrison.
Yep.
Pricey Morrison.
Yep.
Wow, that's impressive. Are they sideways or are they upright still?
No, they're still there.
Okay.
Inglewood. There's some really good parts of Inglewood that you can beat that price point at. And then there was another one I was thinking of. Parts of Littleton, like on the east side of Littleton, closer to Centennial, you might be able to find some of that price point as well. But
Southeast Aurora.
Yeah, Southeast
Southeast
Aurora's
Aurora.
got some new construction or like last 10 years that's in really good shape, and you can save, I would say 50 to 100,000 compared to what you buy in
Well, for
Douglas
that matter,
County.
all of Aurora,
Yeah. Yep.
possibly.
Yeah, north even more affordable, I
they're
would say.
definitely more affordable. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Between
still
Monument and Colorado Springs has a good chunk, even new builds there.
yeah. If you go south far
You gotta
enough,
go-
Yep.
Yeah, past Castle Pines.
yep. East far enough, south far enough. Yeah, past Castle
Yes,
Pines is
get
far
through that
enough.
first.
Yeah. And then you start to get some affordability. So-
Elizabeth, Kiowa, Peyton,
yeah.
Calhoun. Yeah, Fort Morgan.
You go west, it never changes. You never get more affordable.
Yeah, it gets worse until Price
Unless you go to
Canyon.
Blackhawk. Blackhawk is actually more affordable if you like
I have
the
not lived in
casinos.
Blackhawk.
Yeah.
and then you lose all your money on craps.
Yeah, it may not be a good idea. So Patrick, when you qualify a buyer, what does it come down to? What are the metrics that you look at for a buyer to know if they're qualified or not?
Yeah, good one. So there's 3 things: credit, income, and assets. So how much money you have.
Okay.
Those are the 3 main things, and then you can break those down many different ways. In general, with credit, you want to have about a 620 or higher credit score. If you're under 620, you should still talk to us because we can help you get above 620. So we'll tell you what to do to work on that credit score and get it up.
Sometimes quickly, right?
Yep. Sometimes it's like I've had clients that'll have a $200 balance on their credit card. They pay that down, and bam, their score goes up 40 points.
Sweet.
The bad part of credit is you have to have credit. You have to use it to get a score, and it's a complete mystery how all the algorithms come into play.
Yeah. It's kind of a joke.
It's weird. It is very weird.
Yeah.
But 620 credit score is kind of the goal. And if you're not quite there, we'll help you get there. Income, We're looking at anything on your credit report. So we're not looking at your car insurance. We're not looking at your daycare expenses, and we're certainly not looking at lifestyle expenses. We just look at debts on your credit report compared to your income.
Yeah.
And typically we want you with the new house to be under 50% gross.
Okay.
And
Okay, so I'm glad you're saying this because a lot of our listeners out there, you perfectionists, are probably you were thinking like, I gotta have a 780, I gotta have 740 before I can buy a house, right? You said 620 is like the goal that
if you want down payment assistance, if you have
Gotta
your
have
own down
620.
payment, so if you have about 3 to 3.5% down, there technically isn't a minimum credit score,
okay,
but it can be a little bit more challenging.
680, more options, more flexibility.
Once you get above 680, then there's some more loan programs that are opened up to you.
Okay,
Some more grants, some different options.
okay,
But 620 is kind of the target. But even if you're a little low,
yeah,
you should talk to us about that.
okay. So when we're talking about home buying tips in Colorado, we're just saying don't beat yourself up so much,
Yeah.
right? Like don't
have-
disqualify yourself and scare yourself to death.
Have the conversation.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. Just
reach
call.
out to your professionals because, like,
It's free.
yeah, I think that's the best tip. Is it's free up until you're under contract.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the best ways I've ever heard that explained in my life. It's like
It is.
you have no
It's really
cost.
good.
Well, you don't want to do it on your own. Like I said,
Yeah.
credit's a complete mystery. I've had clients try and work on their credit on their own, and we re-pull their credit a year later, and nothing's happened. They thought they did everything they were supposed to do.
And no change.
No, you can close a credit card or pay off even a collection, and your score will go down.
No.
So you don't want to do it on your own. We have to plug you into an app, AI, and it'll tell us what to do.
But
Yeah.
that can be where it goes wrong because I have a 24-year-old and I was worried they would never be able to buy a house.
Yeah.
In today,
Yeah.
the way it is. And I was
Yeah.
23 when I bought my first house. And I don't see how they could do that.
Yeah.
But that is such a good tip is just before you get overwhelmed and freak yourself out and get frustrated and think it's never going to happen, just reach out and have a conversation first because there's so much that can be done to help. They don't even know.
Yeah.
And I think there's a couple of clients that I've talked to that are afraid to talk to lenders because
We're scary. We're very
scary. Yeah,
Super
there's an
intimidating.
intimidation factor
They
there.
wear blazers.
Or they're in a situation where they're afraid to disclose like what their finances look like.
Yeah.
Which is, I get that, completely valid. However, you guys have to understand that the lender's job is to get you to that goal, no matter how hard it is, right? And they're going to look at your finances. They're going to say, okay, here's what I think is going to help you get there. They don't care, right? They really don't care what your finances look like. Their goal is to get you there. So they're going to give you advice. They're going to give you options. They're going to give you everything you would possibly need to either do it now or to prepare to do it later. And so they don't care. Like, I think people get this kind of this weird mentality of, I don't want people to see what I've done.
We don't judge.
Yeah, there's no judgment there. There is some from me a little bit, but other than that,
I mean, I have over 3,000 past clients. I've been in the business 23 years, so there's probably nothing I haven't seen.
yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of like talking to your
Yeah.
doctor. We don't judge. Just we'll coach you on what to
They
do.
don't care about that huge mole on your back.
No.
It's not a big deal.
I'm not going to touch it. But
That's a good visual.
Yeah.
Well, with
is the
average
equivalent.
age of the first-time home buyer being 38 years old in the U.S., having something with down payment assistance, being able to get into a property for as low as $1,000 down,
yeah,
buying a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo,
Yeah.
which you're renting in an apartment, what would that do if you lived in that for 5 to 10 years? And you bought that at 24, so by the time you're 34 years old, you're still 4 years before the average age, and you've got 10 years of equity built up. So doing the math on that and forecasting what that's going to be, you're going to have $150,000 in the Denver market the way it's been growing. So
Yeah.
now that will get you to that 4-bedroom home that you're looking for, and you get all the tax write-offs of everything that you had in the meantime. So.
yep, yeah. But a tip is don't wait for the ability to qualify for your dream home.
Yep.
You know
They're
that's
stepping stones.
Yep.
I've had way too many clients, and this is probably, it's going to make me sound like a real D-bag, but I hear it's like the number one thing is like, well, I'm just going to wait till the market changes. I'm just going to wait till rates come down, or I'm going to wait till houses are more affordable. I was like, and no matter how much I tell them in the nicest way possible, they're hung up on that one fact of like, rates are too high, home values are too high. It's not a good time to buy. It's just not and maybe it's my problem. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I'm not educating well enough, but if I'm educating at any time, it's now. So it's like, figure it out. It's a great time to buy for people. Just because rates are high, home values are high, does not mean it's impossible and it's a bad time right now for first-time home buyers. Like we said, it's perfect. It literally is like almost a perfect storm created for you guys to buy a house.
Yeah. You should buy when you can afford it.
Yeah.
And we'll show you whether you can afford it or not.
That was the best bit of advice that my lender told us when we were going through the process is there's the right time to buy is when you can afford to do it.
Yeah. Definitely.
You start gaining equity and start building that portfolio if that's your plan. So it's kind of this is really not like the perfect time for everybody to do it until it's affordable.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I look at a lot of people's applications who have bought in the past. So not necessarily first-time home buyers, but most people's wealth, their retirement savings is in their home.
In real estate.
Yeah.
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 It's over 80% of everybody's portfolio.
I admire
incredible.
the older generations that live really modestly, but in their back pocket, they have like 6 or 7 properties that they've just held on to for years.
Yeah.
And they've paid them all off and they just have this like pile of money literally waiting.
It's a great way to go.
It's cool.
Yep, for sure. Are there any other down payment assistance programs in Colorado that are worth mentioning?
Yeah, so there's some grants. There's some grants available. There's local jurisdictions, so different counties offer different grants and down payment assistance. Chaffa is the one we probably do the most. It has the best interest rate, best terms, easiest to qualify for. There is one that Chaffa is offering right now if you're a first-time home buyer, first generation. So if your parents never owned a home
Interesting.
and you are the first one in your family to buy a home, or I suppose your brother or sister could buy one too. But if your parents didn't own and you're a first-generation home buyer, it's a $25,000 across the board down payment assistance.
Wow.
So that's a pretty good one.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we have some, like I said, grants. If you're a veteran, you don't need a down payment. So
Cool.
if you are buying out in Fort Morgan or way out east, there are some no down payment loan programs as well.
Are those like USDA
Yeah.
type loans?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always been curious to get
Stamp meet and do loans. That's what they do.
So we should be calling. We'd be calling everyone we know and asking them how long has Joe Mama been renting, basically,
Yes.
right? And if they've been renting for a long time, if their parents have been renting for a long time, then they've got $25K
Yeah.
waiting for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good qualifying question for some of our buyers.
Yeah,
That's big.
Wow.
that's big. All right.
25,000.
So this has been great. I think our listeners have gained a lot from this as far as just some great tips, on how you can prepare to buy a home here in Colorado. And obviously, we've learned Chaffa is huge. And is Chaffa just for first-time home buyers?
No.
Okay, so it can go for a second-time home buyer. You can still have a grant as well. What if you've already used a Chaffa loan? Can you use another one?
You have to pay off the old one.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So that's good to know.
So you'd have to sell, or we could refinance it into a non-Chaffa.
It's kind of like VA where you can only have one working at a time, basically. Okay.
But VA, you can actually have multiple ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I guess what we're learning for tips is
Yeah.
you got to talk.
You have to
us.
talk to people. That's what I was about to say. So it's a good conversation to have.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm learning something today.
Some of the misconceptions are out there are like, I have to be on the same job for 2 years. That's
Yeah.
not true.
Yep.
You can actually buy a home with a job offer, close on the house, move in 90 days before your job starts.
Just with a job letter saying.
Yeah, it has to be non-contingent.
I've
so-
had that happen before.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
drug test, background check, all that. Lots of people think if you're self-employed, you have to have 2 years history. That's actually, there's exceptions to that.
Yeah.
Lots of people think you need 20% down. Lots of people think mortgage insurance is bad. We don't have to go into all, what that is, but
These are
point
some hot
is-
topics.
yeah,
So-
point is there's lots of ways to work
Yeah.
it. And there's a lot of misconceptions out there.
Well, we're lucky because in Denver, first-time homebuyer programs are prevalent, right? We've got quite a few. Where other cities, I'm guessing, like they don't have as many options, right?
We have a ton. Most cities have at least one,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
There's some national programs too.
Yeah.
So
Sweet. That's awesome.
Man.
Well, good. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I've learned a few things. So
Yeah, it makes me want to go buy another first house.
let's do it again.
I don't know if that's possible. All right. Any closing thoughts, guys, before we send people away to buy their first home?
No, I think the key is go with the professionals. If you're overwhelmed with the process, we can give you a full overview of what it is and take it chunk by chunk and then go through each little step. So there's, 10 steps in the process. We'll narrow down what happens in each one, give you that full thing so you know what to expect, and it'll make that process a lot easier, and that way you can not be so overwhelmed by it.
Awesome. Cool. So we've got an awesome event coming up, and a couple months lead time for it too. So February 11th, we are going to be hosting a home buyer seminar, a smart buyer seminar, right? To talk about all the topics that we've been discussing today, as far as how to overcome objections that a lot of people have to get you through the loopholes of buying a house. And we'll talk about those down payment assistance options that we have here in Colorado in a little more depth. Have some fun prizes, raffles, a good time, and Patrick will be there as well. So anything else you want to mention about the home buying seminary coming up February 11th?
yeah, it's a great no pressure way. Like if you do think I have a big red stamp behind my desk, if you just want to come to a fun environment and learn about home ownership, it's a fun event. So we'll have drinks, happy hour, giveaways, but we'll teach you not only how to buy, but why you should buy. What's going to happen in the market? Our home value is about to tank. Should I buy when rates are high? So we'll cover some of the wealth building aspects. So just good, fun, relaxed environment.
Awesome.
To learn about home ownership.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. And it'll be at the View House, just off I-25 there in Dry Creek, basically, right?
Yep.
And then February 11th, we'll have like a little 30-minute session where you can just come and hang out, network, mingle. And then 6:30 to 8 it will be our home buying seminar. And fun food, drinks, fun prizes. Should be a great time. So hopefully we will see you there, and we're looking forward to that. So if you have enjoyed what you're listening to and you'd like to hear more, make sure to press that subscribe button so that you can not miss out on any more episodes that are coming up. And also check out all of our contact information is below. You can see us at the dreamsmithteam.com to look up more information about our team and our history and all of the members of our team, and see contact information that you can reach us if you have any real estate needs.
See you next time.